it's now surrounded by houses.
All right.
Because it was a big, big lot.
Okay. Well, I have a surprise for you, and you have to get better so you can see it. John Buzzy has sent me a DVD of movies. And there's Grandpa, there's Cynthia, there's you, there's two young girls who I suspect are Charlotte and Jane. All right, now let me ask you this. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. You came to Pasadena in 1926, is that right? And you came across the desert in a touring car?
Yeah.
Across the country, but you were in the Mojave Desert?
Yes.
All right. Did you come through the Cajon Pass?
Oh, no.
All right. Maybe down Palm Springs way.
No, I think we would have been right on this downside of where Cajon Pass we missed. We didn't go near there because it was up in the mountains, and we came through what would have been Raccoon Pass.
All right.
And we stayed on the edge of the desert one day and then drove across the rest of the desert to Pasadena when it was cool and nice, and kept right on going until we got to Pasadena and went to the Oak Park Auto Court.
Okay. Who was in that car?
Pearl and Daddy were in the front seat. Jane was a baby hanging in a hammock-like thing from the roof of the car. All she did was sleep all the way because she was so young. And then Peely, Martha, Cynthia, and Sarah all sat in a row in the back seat. Well, we were pretty small then, so we fitted all right. And Charlotte spent the time going first to the front seat with Pearl and Daddy, and then she'd come crawl around on us. She was 3 years old, I think. And we were just pretty crowded, but we'd stop anywhere, and everybody would get out and have a good time. But it was a car full.
Was there an old lady with you who wore a black coat?
No, that would have been Pearl.
But Pearl was young and slender then.
Yeah.
And in the movie, an older car, could have been 1926 vintage, is stopped in the desert. It looked like it was in the Cajon Pass, but easily it could have been anywhere, so I'm not arguing. And in it is a young slender woman with a striped shirt with one of those flapper-style hats that comes down like this, and I think that's Pearl.
Probably is.
And I can't remember, I think the two, or at least one little girl is there, but anyway, there's a matronly woman in a black coat and a black hat, so she wouldn't have been in your party.
No.
All right, then maybe she's not related to this. When you arrived in Pasadena, was there a small yard with rings that you could swing on, or the little kids could swing on, and a fruit tree in Pasadena? Because you and Cynthia looked to be in your late teens, early 20s, and in 1926 you would have been 16, wouldn't you? You were born in 13.
Yeah.
So you would have been 16. That looks about right. Peely was first born, then you, then Cynthia, then Sarah. Is that right?
Right, yeah.
And then Charlotte, and then Jane.
Yeah.
Jane is the baby. All right. Well, it looks to me then, by looking at the movie, that it's unmistakably you and unmistakably Cynthia, that Charlotte and Jane would have been playmates,
With a what?
Charlotte and Jane would have been playmates a few years after you arrived in Pasadena.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a swing set in the backyard, but it's not swings, it's rings. And I think a bar. A wooden frame with rings and a swing. One time it's rings, another time it's a swing. And one of the two young girls is swinging on that. And then there's one quick scene where I swear it's Charlotte and Jane at about, what are they, 2 years apart? 3 years apart?
2.
2, yeah. Charlotte's the elder, looking at Jane on a porch, and it looks just like them. Charlotte looks like Pookie, and Jane looks like Little Jane. So that's got to be them.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, get better so you can see this DVD. Your father's in it, Pearl is in it, playing golf. They're playing golf in the movie. I'm sure it's them. I'm sure it's him. I can't see if it's Pearl because of her hat. But there's no doubt that it's your father playing golf. And then there's a football game that John Buzzy is unable to tell. He thinks it might be a Harvard game. And the problem with all of this stuff is that it's not in chronological order.
Who took it?
We don't know.
Oh.
It was found. I'll ask John again. I think he told me and I forgot. But he said something like, how did my mother end up with this? Or how did my grandmother end up with this? I forget what he said. But there's Granky Arthur standing beside a big old car with holding on to the hand of a young boy. And he's moving around, and then he looks up to look at someone coming, and Granky May shows up and gets into the car. And John has identified that. I thought it was them. I figured it was them, and John confirmed that. So you got to see this movie.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thank you for this. I think you've helped John especially, with answers to these questions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This morning I told him Rachel was a pheasanton, and then I sat down to breakfast and jumped up, and Dixie said, what's the matter? And I said, I got to send an email to John. I told him Rachel's a pheasanton, and she's not. She's a Norton.
Oh.
So I'm going to send him this because your commentary is what he needs.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say hi to John Buzzy.
Hi, John Buzzy, but I don't think he ever came west.
Well, that could be. I don't know that.
Oh, yeah, right.
And for the record, this is Martha Wood-Coutant that we're interviewing here. Hi, Martha.
Hi.
Okay, that's just for the record, in case this gets discovered 100 years from now. Well, who was that woman he was talking to?
Yeah.
And I'm her son, Stanley O. Coutant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.